So, how's your week been?
Oh, it's been busy. It's been a great week.
You know, that last weekend especially was just hectic, it felt like.
Oh, man.
You know, we recorded the podcast. We're like, we don't know what's going to happen. You never
and then
know.
Bang.
And then everything happened.
Yes, finally.
Finally.
I mean, we've been waiting all winter long for something to happen.
Honestly.
You know?
And you know what? It's all coming together.
And here we are.
So, welcome to the Small YouTube Channels Talk podcast. I think this is episode 13. Unlucky episode number 13.
That's crazy. Yeah. Funny that it's episode 13.
13. Why is that funny?
Because
I'm so confused
of the deal that I'm going to share with
right.
today.
Oh, yeah. Shoot. You're right. Okay. We'll talk about that after we roll the intro music.
Warning. The following pre-recorded podcast will blow your mind. Broadcasting to Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. Recorded in Cole's parents' basement. This is Small YouTube Channels Talk.
Welcome back. I'm Cole. This is Jack.
Yeah, you guys know us hopefully by the 13th episode.
Come on. If you don't, it's
you guys.
Pathetic.
Honestly, you guys make me sick.
Sick. Absolutely sick.
Just sickening.
Okay, so I want you to tell me. So, like, a whole story.
All right.
Beginning to end.
All right. So, as you guys know.
Like, even the idea.
Sure. So, as you guys know, classic AV slogan.
As you guys know.
We run the late night show, Late Night Boomin'.
Late Night Boomin'.
Okay. Now, we've had 2 episodes that we put on YouTube, and it's a really fun time, right?
Right.
So, the idea dawned upon old Jack to, what if this was on TV?
Right.
And I was like, maybe this is possible. So I ventured over to KTTW, Fox 7.
Fox 7.
Okay.
KTTW, what station is that?
It's a Fox affiliate, channel 7.
Is that in Sioux Falls?
Yeah, it's either 7 or 13, something like that. So I go in and I walk in front door, and immediately there's this little old lady sitting there with a walker, and I'm like,
is it a receptionist or?
Yeah. Okay, and I'm like, okay. My name is Jack Unruh, and I pitched her the idea, and she's like, let me call up Scott. Instantly, this guy comes charging forth from the back office. He's like, hey, son, how are you? And I was like, oh, I'm good. How are you? And so he took me back to his office, and he's just the nicest guy ever. And I pitched him the idea for the show, and he's like, well, you know what? This is totally doable. Totally doable. I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, we could get you guys, let's see, 13 weeks here of a show. And I was like,
wait, hold up. Okay, now, where would we be doing it?
So we'd still be doing it in our classic spot. Okay. But all that would change is the format of the show, and we'd get sponsors, and we'd actually be making a lot of money off of this.
Okay.
So basically how the deal would go is we would make 13 episodes. They would air once
for 13 weeks straight?
For 13 weeks. So we can film them whenever we want.
Okay.
We just have to have them ready for each week.
Okay.
So the guy said, the deal would be we'd have 13 episodes or 13 weeks straight, it's the quarter 4 of the television, like quarters, whatever.
Sure.
Starts the first weekend in October and goes until the very last weekend in December. And it would be most likely Saturday nights starting at 11 p.m. So late night television.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
and we'd like run commercials. We'd have it all.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, there's a long road ahead, lots of work to do. But
wow. This is going to be a busy fucking year.
Oh, yeah. You know it.
God.
We got 2 features.
Let's count all the projects. Okay, so
right.
Reality TV show, 2 features, possibly Gorilla Season 2. I know that's being talked about right now.
Oh, yes.
This, Late Night Boomin'.
Late Night Boomin' on actual television. And some short films
sprinkled throughout.
Yes.
Wow.
We're some busy boys in the year 2020, aren't we?
That's insane. That's actually, honestly, crazy.
And now you can't tell me that we're not going to get those nice cameras. Oh, man.
With the Sonys? You want to use the,
we're getting
honestly,
the Sonys easily.
God, what the...
Okay,
it's literally like yesterday was my first day at the new job, right?
Yeah. Tell everybody about this.
Okay, so as you guys know, we were talking about this reality show thing. And on Friday, actually literally the day that the last podcast aired, me and Jack had a little meeting and we met with them. And, we were trying to talk about, how we're going to really make this work.
The podcast people about this reality show project?
We have, not like exclusively. We're signing NDAs tomorrow, so today's like the last chance that we really have to talk about it. Which is fun. I had to make up the NDAs, by the way. That was one of the things that I did yesterday on my first day because they didn't have NDAs ready.
Yes.
I wrote in a little fine print that they owe us $10,000 if they drop us. No, I'm kidding.
Mitchell, if you're listening, he's joking.
I'm joking, I swear.
He's not joking.
And then, I started. So on Friday, we're talking and we're like, listen, we want to get paid, blah, blah. We were talking about getting paid. And what we left that meeting with, we kind of weren't happy with. So over the weekend, we did more discussing. It's like sitting on the AirPods in the conference call. Like, this is despicable.
This is an outrage.
An outrage. We need to get we need to negotiate. So we spent the weekend doing that.
Yeah.
And then I met with Mitchell and Sean on Monday. I was there for maybe 15 minutes because something came up and I had to leave.
Sean's a beast, isn't he?
But then they were like, okay, yeah, we think we're actually going to hire you, Cole, full time because I'm not in school, and I'm not working on. That's how it's perfect for me because one, I'm there to shoot the reality show if I need to, and then two, I can help with the whole fruit truck situation. So. Basically, I'm kind of like everywhere all the time. And then I also get to shoot the reality show. And I'm really going to start focusing on that. I've had a few ideas, we can start going over. But it's like getting like really like serious, like with everything that's happening. I was updating my resume yesterday and I was like, my references are officially like actual like people people that like are actually respectable in the field.
It's no
like
longer
Mitchell
like
Olsen, Sean Beck.
Yeah, it's no longer
it used
like
to be scout leaders and stuff.
Mr. Ferguson.
Mr. Ferguson. Well, not cramping on you, Mr. Ferg. But,
no.
But it's people that weren't related to the field that I was in at all. Except for
if
maybe
anyone
Dawn.
has extensive movie knowledge, it is Mr. Ferguson.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody knows that.
Right, of course. But the only person that I had as a reference was Don McClear, who was my mentor for my senior project. And I've been riding on that to get fucking gas station jobs and stuff. That can't be appealing to be like, you get a text from old Cole James Anderson like, hey, I'm applying for a new job. I'm using you as a reference, just letting you know. And he's like, oh, thanks. And then, it's fucking gas station calls him. What is that? What is that about?
Yeah,
but now I'm actually working in the field that I want to. And it's super, and it looks great on my resume. Like, this is the fucking job that, like, I'm feeling good.
The empire is rising.
Yes.
The fire rises.
Everything this year is going so well.
Imagine.
I had a bad day because, I told you about the license thing. We talked about that on the podcast. I've had every few bad days that I've had in the next couple of days, I come back immediately, even better.
I mean, and this is kind of what we talked about on the podcast, the roller coaster that is filmmaking.
That's right.
Can you imagine January 1st, 2021, 2020 in review?
Holy crap, we have to do that.
We're gonna
oh
be
my
like,
God, we have to start filming everything.
We're going to be like, well, guess what? We made 2 feature films. We made a TV series that aired on television.
13 episodes.
13 episodes.
Still in the works.
And listen to this, this is even cooler part. He said that the reach that we would be getting with Lena Bowen, this is an estimate. They don't know the actual number, but at least 300,000 homes. Across 3 different states.
This is crazy.
Isn't that insane?
This is actually genuinely like insane. This is like, Holy
I mean,
shit.
we're airing on the same station as Family Guy, How I Met Your Mother,
Yeah,
Last Man
people are
Standing.
gonna watch it.
People are gonna watch.
People are gonna watch.
People are gonna watch.
People are gonna watch. That's
speaking
crazy.
of that, Jerry Seinfeld's coming to Sioux City May 7th.
Really?
Yeah, just had to throw it out there. Found it yesterday.
Don't forget to buy your tickets.
You're welcome, Jerry.
All right, Jerry. Where's my check?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I could not. Half of the stuff that you do, I'm like honestly like amazed by. I don't know how you land stuff like this. How do you do that?
Well, you know what? I guess just
I would have never ever even tried to put together a movie like we did, because it was so chaotic making that film and then making a live show and somehow making it work, and now possibly be getting that aired on television.
just keep getting more and more insane.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's gonna be a fun year.
It's going to be a fun year. There's just so much stuff going on. I just don't want to get too distracted, you know?
Yeah. You know what's kind of good about this too is that like, so okay, if you look at like our past, like I mean, we were super busy with like adventure vlogs, and then right into the movie, and then premiering that, and then kind of I mean all through the summer with Gorilla and all this stuff, and then you know setting up for the first Late Night Boomin', and then winter hits and it's just dead instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have nothing for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
All, like last half of December.
Are you saying that we'll actually have something to do in the summer?
Yeah, like I'm saying, like last half of December and then January and February was just dead. You know, I mean, we threw in another episode of Late Night Boom, but whatever, right? And now it's like, okay, we have a reality TV show that might go national. We have a guaranteed local TV show that will be happening,
and that's in the winter.
That's in the winter,
Q4.
Yep, that we'll need to be getting ready for all year long. We have 2 features that we need to be getting ready for.
That we're shooting in the. Oh my god, we need to start.
We have our YouTube series. We have several short films. It's gonna be the year of content.
Yeah, I need to start filming everything. I need to pick up like an extra external hard drive and just film as much behind the scenes stuff as possible. So then when
if you were gonna
2020 year interview comes,
if you were gonna do a documentary, this is the year to do it.
This is the year to do a documentary. I need to document fucking everything.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so cool.
Wow. Oh yeah. So, we're in the talks of getting my camera, and I'm gonna slowly pay for it with the payroll, and then she can use it as a tax write-off, right?
Yeah.
So I can get it immediately, and then I'll slowly pay it off, which is good. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow morning, and then when you show up, we'll go over your stuff. So that's really, really great. I was really hoping that Best Buy would have some in stock, but I looked on their website, and it doesn't look like they do.
The A6400.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it.
Such
a nice.
Have you used it a lot?
I've been using it quite a bit in photography class, and the more I use it, the more I love it.
Yeah.
The more I learn how to use those kind of cameras, the easier it becomes, and the quality is mint.
Every time I get a new camera, I have to like just sit with it and just record everything. And you know, the really good thing about this job is I'm working 9 to 5 hours, and I used to have really, really bad, like, I wouldn't say like sleep apnea issues, but I'm a night owl at heart. So I stay up 2, 3 a.m. every single night. And now with this, I got to be up at 8 to, get ready, make myself lunch, and then leave by 8:30 so that I can get there on time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually getting up earlier. So that means on the weekends, if I can keep that same schedule, I can get up and shoot at golden hour. Do some practice shooting. I want to do a lot of test footage along with short films and stuff.
This is so crazy how this is all lining up, because Sunday night, I was in a Bible study at USF, and the topic was work ethic. And we started talking, and basically what the idea was why we need work ethic and why it's so important to be productive.
Right.
And so I asked the question, I was like, there's these classes that I don't really like. I'm kind of, through the whole winter, I was kind of just cruising, you know what I mean? Just nothing, not a good kind of cruising either, just kind of, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so then what they talked about was making the most of every day and being productive with every day and using the most of our opportunities. And I was like, I could be doing that. So the very next day, Monday, I woke up super early to go hit the gym with Tice. You know Tice.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Tice.
And then the next day, on Tuesday, I woke up early to do Bible study. And then Wednesday, I woke up early to lift. Today, I woke up early for Bible study. And I kid you not, this has been a very productive week. And I'm sure you're feeling the same way.
Exactly.
I mean, because I totally feel that. I mean, when you're like staying up late, like I was staying up till 2, 3. I mean, waking up. Like,
and like the thing is, like when I would be staying up late, I would be productive. Don't get me wrong, but it's that sleeping in that makes you feel like you're not getting anything.
Exactly.
Done, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like I would like to be awake most hours that the sun is out. You know, because then, mainly. Then free light for filming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't have to pay for any, electricity to charge the batteries. It's all there.
And I think honestly, for you and me, for this summer, with all the things that we're going to be doing, getting up early should be a part of our lives.
For sure.
Because we want to milk every day.
Every second.
The moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, we will be working this summer.
Exactly,
whether it's in a job or on our films.
Yeah.
It's going to be
with literally every single project that we're juggling at this point. That's so insane.
It's gonna be fun though.
I really gotta. This is good motivation. I think this weekend I'm gonna try to get as far on my script as I can. I know that if I hammer it out, maybe 2 days, I might be able to finish it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, what are your thoughts on this? When I was writing my script, I was like, Slick Trigger was kind of a different beast because I wrote that all just boom, it just came out, right? And then for Shoreline, I think we talked about this a little bit, but I want to kind of go deeper with this subject.
Sure.
For Shoreline, I had several main ideas of the movie that I wanted. Mm-hmm. So the process for writing the script took longer. It didn't all just come out at once. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I found myself like wanting to wait for the right moment to writing the script. So I'd like put it off for days. Like, I'm not feeling like it. I'm not going to put it. But some days I just made myself write it. And I'm like, well, I can go back and edit it later. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? Do you think that you should wait until you're absolutely ready? Or do you think you should just write it and then go back and edit?
So I used to live by the whole, I used to like wait until like I felt like it, like I was in the right mood, because when I am in the right mood, I could write for days. But I realized that forcing myself to write, doing that, eventually I do get picked up and I am like, yeah, I'm in a good, workflow and stuff. And I definitely, write scripts the same way. I have like main ideas that I want to incorporate, and it's just bridging those ideas, getting between them and creating stuff. So it's all logically making sense. The biggest, I'm literally like, I was writing Reality Bleeding and I knew like I just finished one scene and I knew what the next scene was, but I'm like, how the fuck do I start it? But I know how to start it, but like, how? Like it's such a complicated like I know what I want to do, but it's like
execution.
I was so drained at that point. It was probably pretty late at night too, so that I was just like, if I write anything right now, it's gonna be trash. And it was like 4 a.m. and I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like I like what you said there about like sometimes if you just do it, then it puts you in the flow. If you're not in the flow, you know what I mean?
I have a big, I used to have, I don't currently, sometimes I do, but I used to have a big problem with procrastination. And, it being 2020, it being a new year, I had like a lot of resolutions when I started. And I know I broke some of them, but I'm trying to keep on to some of them. You slip up some days, whatever. At some point this year, I want to start going to the gym. I want to make myself more fit. I'm trying to eat less and eat healthier. And then I did want to start, going to bed sooner and waking up earlier. And I hadn't been doing that for a long time. And then, perfect opportunity comes, and now I'm working a job that is going to look great on a resume. And I love doing it so far. That's what matters. It's just like everything feels like it just lined up. I couldn't be happier.
It's
when you texted that this morning to the group chat with the 13 episodes possibly, and blah blah blah. I was sitting at my desk because I have a cubicle now, right? That's how professional I am. I have a cubicle.
Just instant Wolf of Wall Street over here.
I pull up my phone and I'm like,
yeah. Well, we can actually tie this into one of the very first episodes. Remember how you said you were making a documentary? You were possibly going. It was just an idea to make a documentary about your faith and your journey into faith. This is actually kind of interesting because I just kind of give you a little rundown of what my faith has been going through, just to kind of play this out. You guys can now seen the character arcs through the podcast,
of course.
Right? So when I talked about the winter being really slow, right, my faith was kind of like, honestly, I was not like thinking about God, and I was not like thinking about my faith, or like I was really just kind of really focusing on my future and like what I wanted to do. And I was like, oh, man, like really stressing out about it. And so all winter was just a drag. Like that's
the worst part about like winter too, is because you overthink when you have nothing to do.
Exactly. About it. Yeah. And so I was overanalyzing everything, and I wasn't really thinking about God. I mean, I was trying to, but I wasn't really. But then really right at the end here of February, kind of halfway through, and nothing really happened all winter long, but then right kind of halfway through February, I really started, like, I was just like, I need God back in my life, because like anytime he is in my life, it just goes so much better. And that's the way it has been like for the past couple of years. And now like we've kind of reached a slow point, and I was like, well, what's going wrong? So I started hitting up these Bible studies more and really getting in the Word more. And I mean, almost within the span of a week, look at how everything's turned around. I mean, this opportunity came up. You and me are now both getting up early, being way more productive. We have a show possibly airing on TV.
Yeah.
Things just look better.
My mental health is a lot better than it was too.
Same.
Yeah.
Same, because I was not, I mean, I just felt like crap all winter long.
Stressed. Just constant stress. Because you're thinking about stuff that, at the time you have no control over.
And you're trying, yes, exactly. And you're like worried. You feel stressed when you're busy, but you feel even more stressed.
But it's like a good stress.
Yeah.
It's like a healthy stress.
You're like, okay, yeah, I'm stressed. But then you feel even more stressed when you're not busy, because you're like, what should I be doing?
Right.
I don't know. Like, I bet you probably get that feeling. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm not working on anything right now that could like get me into the industry. And I'm
beginning of this year, okay, Slick Trigger Behind the Scenes came out, and I'm like, yes, this was really good. I worked on it for a really long time. I worked on that thing for, I want to say, almost a year and a half. I worked on that thing for a long ass time, and it is the best thing that I've made, no doubt about it. But beginning of January hits, and I felt dead. I was like, I don't have to upload, but I want to be making something. I feel like I'm just not like, I don't know how to put it. I don't feel like I exist if I'm not doing something to motivate and like create or something. I just feel like I'm just there.
I feel the exact same way. Like I knew I wanted to do something. I even knew things I wanted to do, but I just couldn't do them. I mean, it's the dead of winter, and then I mean, it was just an awful time. Like I was like, what can I be doing? And then I mean, suddenly now look, things just instantly turn around. And I don't know. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and we're not even necessarily like filming stuff, but and we're planning. And in the winter in January, I was planning, but it's actually like putting in effort that makes it feel worth it. When I actually was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start writing the film. I was like, screw it, screw like the whole short film idea, concept short film, whatever. I'm just gonna make the fucking movie, and I just wanted to do that so bad. I was like, I can't keep re-editing the same script, the same short film script that's 15 pages long over and over and over. I think it went through 8 rewrites, or not 8 rewrites, like 8 drafts, and I was like, I might as well be editing the fucking movie, you know?
Yeah.
So once I started doing that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm getting into a nice groove of it. And then, you know, the Late Night Booming episode 2 came up, or show number 2 came up, and I was like, okay, this is another thing I can work on. And then the reality show came up, and I was like, oh great, another opportunity. Now I'm working full time in a job that actually, honestly, with my job, I feel like if it's like a lull kind of day with what I do, I feel like I could, you know, write a script or edit, and it doesn't have to be related to that job specifically. And
like I am like, you cannot find a single person on the planet that hates waking up in mornings as much as I do. Like,
I don't know. Have you met me? You've never seen me in the morning wake up. Like, we've never done a sleepover or anything, so we don't know what each other are like. You don't want to
meet me within the 3 hours of me waking up. No, like, honestly, but here's the thing. After that talk on Sunday about being productive and getting up early Monday morning, getting a lift in, and then starting my day, I felt
How
more.
early did you wake up on Monday?
Oh, I woke up at 7.
Oh, nice.
7.
Nice.
And I used to wake up at 7 every single day in high school to get, I mean, that was like my thing. I woke up at 7.
Of course,
yeah. But then, I mean, college hits, and now I like used to wake up at like 9:30 for my 10 o'clock class and like 8:30 for my 9 o'clock class, like whatever. But getting up early and getting something done right away in the morning just sets you at a good pace for the day. You know, we always talk about like pacing in our films. I think our days have a certain pacing too. You know what I mean? If we can just get in a groove and get things going, just keep the rhythm going. Maybe sneaking a nap in there, that's fine. A little rest, recharge, and keep it going. You know what I mean?
Stay busy.
Stay busy.
Because, you know, for me, it's when I have nothing to do, that's when I feel. That's when, you know, the stress and the overthinking happens.
And that was all winter.
It was all winter. I watched 1917 recently. Holy crap.
That's a
great film. All shot like it's like one shot, right?
Yeah.
Very, very similar to our situation. You know, that movie has great pacing, and it's a one shot. And our lives, we live our entire life in basically a one-shot style. Every day is one shot, unless you take a nap or something, right?
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, and you know, you want to have good pacing, because if you're watching a movie and a character's doing stuff, it's great, and then they just sit down, they do nothing, you're going to be like, what the fuck? You know? We're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Do something. And we try to tell that to ourselves, but we don't. And now I'm starting to realize my life is like a movie. My life is like 1917. And if the audience is getting bored, I'm getting bored.
That's a great perspective.
It's all a retrospective about how my life is a film. And
I bet Tarantino's watching us right now.
He's like, oh god,
the dialogue here is trash.
The dialogue, definitely not my kind of film.
No, start shooting each other or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. I feel like every week of that podcast is just us. It's like we should just rename the podcast Update.
Yeah,
because all we talk about is like
video.
Because like, listen, if we would have done this podcast a year ago, it would not be as interesting as it has been with all the developments being made.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Like literally, we don't even talk about like topics. We're just like, yeah, we got this.
No, yeah,
you know, we're gonna get on TV.
Yeah, we started off like there was like hot takes and like topics they were gonna be talking about, but now it's just like, this week was crazy.
Literally every week it's topping the last one,
and then Slick Trigger in there somewhere.
Slick Trigger's in there somewhere. Yeah. One of these days.
One of these days.
But I'm really excited. There's a lot, you know. There's a lot happening.
It feels good when we're on the cusp of something big. You know what I mean?
And, you know, this podcast was another one of those perfect projects, because it was something, you know, to work on in our free time.
Exactly.
I have something to post every week.
I still can't believe we've been doing this for 13 weeks.
13 weeks. Yeah. I feel like episode 20 is coming up really fast.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
we got to have something big for episode 20.
Oh, yeah. What should we do?
Excuse my stomach. I don't know. I made like a crocodile sound.
Maybe we do it in a musical style.
A musical? Maybe we have some musical guests or something. You know, I was thinking I want some original music for my films, and I was gonna, use some of Brock's old stuff and some of Ology's old stuff and some of your dad's old stuff. And then I was kind of like, I think I just want one song from each artist that is especially made. Brock already made one for the film, which is great. Got that out of the way. I'm going to have Ology make a song called Reality, because Brock's song that he made is called Bleeding. And then I'm going to ask your dad to make a song called One Bad Day. I'm going to be like, listen, I want you to make me a song. The title is One Bad Day. That's all. That's it. Go ham. I just want it to be called One Bad Day.
Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, I mean, they are in the process of writing a new album.
That's good. That's great. I should meet up with him and talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot.
Man, lots going on.
Lots going on.
It's a fun time.
I'm getting super busy now too.
Yeah.
Like it was like last week, it's super easy to, sit down and find time to do the podcast. But now it's like, oh, I'm working 9 to 5.
Yeah. And I think honestly, here's the thing is like a couple weeks ago, we felt like we were busy, but we really weren't.
We probably really, yeah.
I mean, we tried to make ourselves busy, but now we're actually making ourselves busy. Like we got stuff going now, you know what I mean?
So what's the plan for Late Night Boomin' then? Like, what are we gonna like do for like, when are we filming it? When is it?
So, all right, a little sneak preview for those of you listening in. March episode will feature David Jones, who owns several suit shops in Sioux Falls, Zach Dresch, who is a local comedian, and Scott Hoy.
3 guests.
Yeah. Well, okay. Zach Dresch won't be a guest. He's just gonna do he's gonna do an act, like a 5-minute act.
Okay.
And then Scott Hoy, who is from that commercial. I don't know if it's video games or what, but just stop. It was like a meme for like the longest time.
I think I've seen it.
If you saw it, you'd remember.
If I saw it, okay.
But yeah, I mean, that went like national and stuff. And so, yeah, then
So is that going to be the first episode of
the 13? Hopefully.
If it goes well.
If it goes well.
So
we're going to change up the format though, because
how so?
So we've been doing an hour-long show, but as of right now, this could change, but as of right now, it's looking like we're going to be getting a time slot on TV that is 28 minutes and 30 seconds long.
Totally doable.
It's doable.
Actually, you know what? That's great, because you should still go with the hour show and only use the parts that were best.
Yes, I agree. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. We should do that.
Just keep with the hour show. Keep the format, because then you can change everything in the edit.
Yeah. We can fix it in post.
We
classic. Always do.
Classic. Okay, well, Jack's got to go soon, and Jack's going to have a quick conversation with my father, so we're going to end it a little bit earlier than normal. We're actually going to cut to now a conversation that I'm going to have with a special guest, perhaps my brother, or someone else.
Or Charlie,
someone, just to fill out the rest of the episode. Thanks, Jack. I'm sorry that you had to leave early, but we'll see you next week for a full episode.
All right, this is Jack Hammer out. Peace.
Welcome back to the Small YouTube Channels Talk Podcast. Today, I'm here with my father.
Hey there.
His name is David.
Yeah.
Fun little fact, his initials spell out my sister's nickname, which is something I always like to throw in small conversations here and there.
And my initials also stand for a major federal agency.
This is true. I only know that because I watched Breaking Bad. So I know my dad doesn't have a YouTube channel, and this is supposed to be like people with YouTube channels talking, but before we get into the topic that I know you wanted to talk about, I'm going to just straight up bring it up that my dad wants to do like some sort of podcast or like a live show or something, and that would eventually, result in him having a YouTube channel. What's your inspiration? I know he's Bob and Tom mainly, right?
Mainly Bob and Tom, because Bob and Tom has been doing their radio show in the morning for, I swear to God, 40 plus years, I think.
How long have you been listening?
I remember, back in This is 2020. So it would basically be back in 2001, 2002, when I would drive back and forth to work. At the time, I lived in Watertown for a short time, Watertown, South Dakota.
That's where I was born.
Yep. And I was actually commuting between Watertown and Brookings, South Dakota for work. It was for an internship at a call center. And during my drive up and down in the morning, I'd listen to Bob and Tom the entire way. And
that's how you discovered them?
That's probably, actually.
Okay.
Even though they did it for years and years and years before that, I don't know how long it took for them to actually become nationally syndicated. But once they...
What does that mean, nationally syndicated?
Nationally syndicated, basically, like, I'm going to name a local radio station here. 1047's got a local morning radio show.
Right.
If the radio show goes extremely well and... they think that it works in other markets around the country, they will actually, I believe what Bob and Tom do is they actually put it out live in the morning as it happens nationally. In other words, there's a lot of other affiliates around the entire country that will play them on doing their thing.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like what they do with like TV.
Yeah, they're based out of like Indianapolis, Indiana.
Sure, okay.
So basically, I've listened to those guys forever, and there isn't a whole lot of subjects that are not covered.
They go full. They talk about everything.
They literally talk about everything.
Can they though? Because like censors, isn't there like censors?
Well, you gotta be careful not to swear.
Well, that's the great thing about like these kind of podcasts is you can talk about basically anything and still get on Apple Podcasts.
Well, you don't have to swear to be intelligent.
Well, I'm not. Well, actually, I'm going to cut you off. There's a study done. People that swear more often have a bigger vocabulary than people who don't.
I would, being as old as I am, debate that because as I grew up, I didn't hardly hear anybody swear unless they were extremely mad about something. Like my brother, whenever he would work on a car.
Sure.
But... no, I mean, literally, they, of course, base their show mainly on comedic stuff, which I love.
Well, because they're all comedians, right?
Well, they have a lot of comedians on all the time, and they actually do have comedians that are actually part of the show regularly that go out and that'll do stand-up and stuff like that. So it's just basically one of those things where, honestly, the world nowadays, there's so many subjects that need to be talked about that probably are, but maybe not enough. And then people also just really need to realize that, with all the stuff that's going on, be it bad, be it good, so whatever, the best thing or what's best for basically everybody is to be happy.
True. Yeah.
First and foremost. And honestly, probably the best way to start your day is to laugh in the morning. And I love that idea. They're talking about things. They're talking about stupid things, stupid stories, people that do stupid stuff, and people do stupid stuff all the time. I hear stories, but
you hear stories, you experience stories.
Oh, well, yeah, both. But that's just one of those things. It's you gotta have fun in life. Life as you get older. And when I was young, I was extremely, I was introverted. I was all about me. Christmas time happened. If I didn't get a gift that I like, I was mad the rest of the time. I was very selfish.
Mm-hmm.
I like now, of course, being older, I don't like to get gifts. I would prefer not to get gifts because I still feel that guilt from when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I love giving stuff to people. You know, it's taken me a really, really long time to learn that life is not about things, it's about experiences, which is, I kick myself in the butt all the time that I didn't go to more rock concerts when I was young, you know, but I'm getting out and I'm going to concerts and doing stuff now. So, I mean,
well,
nice.
you went to didn't Kiss go on a final tour?
Oh, yeah.
Who was it?
Kiss's End of the Road tour.
You went to that, right?
Yep, I went to that.
Was it the Premier Center?
That was at the Premier Center in Sioux Falls. It was an awesome show.
We recently went to a hockey game at the Premier Center. It was freaking insane. There's like 5 fights.
Well, that was just recently.
That was like last weekend.
That was honestly probably the most bizarre game that I've seen in the last couple of years.
I'm not a fan of hockey, okay? But I was like genuinely like invested in like what was going to happen next because I just felt the tension in the air. Like I knew something was going to happen and stuff kept happening.
Yeah, and you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's an elbow that somebody gets every now and then you see their knee-jerk reaction from it.
I straight saw someone get socked in the face. It was great.
I'm sure the guy that got socked in the face didn't think it was great.
Well, we could debate that.
But yeah, when a fight starts behind the goal and then gets full blown right in the center of the ice, that's a sight to see.
Yeah, honestly. Okay, anyways, I'm sorry. We kept jumping around. Okay, let's talk about my dad works in information technology, which means IT. So, you know, the guy, you know, when you think your computer's being stupid, the guy that tells you to restart it, my dad works in that field.
Like the IT crowd.
Yes. Growing up with a father in this profession, obviously, you know, well, since I had an interest in it, which helps. I learned to, you know, troubleshoot, and I think it was mainly because I did have an interest in it. So then you were basically being an IT guy for like, you know, a toddler who was trying to use a computer. So then you would teach me stuff. You'd be like, no, you're doing that wrong. Try this. And then, you know, I learned from experience. I think by the age of, I want to say 12, I could, like you did. You told me that you used to just take apart your mom's computer and then try to put it back together before she came home. I think you told me that once. And I think I remember that. And I would open up the home computer because when we lived in the apartment, like very, very early days when we lived in the apartment, we had a family computer.
Yeah, what you're talking about is that was just literally my first computer.
Right.
Like, we're talking Windows 95. I remember basically building a damn computer. Took me 6 hours just to get the sound working.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Considering how
heck.
It's like still kind of complicated, but it's much more like modular and like plug and play now. Like
everything is so much simpler now.
You can build a computer in like an hour.
I mean,
I could, like, with how many, you know, I've built 2 computers technically.
If you do the work ahead of time,
right, and that's what matters.
You know, most things nowadays, you don't need all these extra parts because everything that's built in is plenty good. Yeah, that you just need just what little added things, nuances that you're going to be using, and that's about it.
Yeah, you can get a motherboard and it has sound built in and Wi-Fi built in, and I remember for the longest time we had like sound cards that, because I think those are just like relics of the past now because most motherboards have integrated sound, you know?
Yeah, and they even have stereo or surround sound built in anymore.
Yeah, so
the biggest reason for the sound cards was to have
sound
surround, well, like good sound.
Sure.
You know, surround sound and stuff. But
Okay, anyways, I'm sorry. I keep getting off track. So I'm very knowledgeable because I grew up with that interest and he helped me. But unfortunately, there aren't a lot of people like that in the world. There are a lot of stupid people. So how long have you been working in IT? Has it been before I was born?
It's been, well, officially, I would say probably just after you were born.
Okay.
In 2001. So you were a year old.
Okay. So you then must have a lot of stories of, or not even stories, but just experiences with really dumb, stupid people.
It just depends on how many I can remember, quite frankly.
Okay. Could you give maybe an example of like a story or something where, let's say something was just super obviously, like it was super obvious and they just, like they couldn't figure it out or something like that.
Aside from the whole, here's a good thing, especially when you're a technician and you get a phone call, because obviously the first thing a technician does is answer people's phone calls for help. And you ask them what's wrong with their computer, and they say, my computer's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, that literally tells me absolutely nothing about what's going on.
Before you continue, whenever I'm frustrated and I know it's me and not the computer, I'm like, computer stupid. I hate it. It's computer stupid. I was drinking my Mountain Dew today at my desk while I was working, and I accidentally spilt some on my computer. I was like, stupid computer. Ugh. And then I had to get up and get towels and clean my computer off and, disinfect it and stuff. And I was like, dumb computer. Because I didn't want to
get anything inside.
Oh, no, it's fine. It wasn't that much. But it's like, for me, I do that if like I'm trying to deflect blame. Other people, they're just stupid. They're stupid and not the computer. Well, computers aren't stupid. Computers are smart.
Honestly, with the amount of people that are in the world, even though IT is like a big field, honestly, still 90 to 95% of the people out there only know how to turn a computer on and move a mouse and click. When it comes to pretty much anything else, they're absolutely clueless. I mean, we have members of our family that are like that, which obviously it's because we fall in the very low percentage of the people that know anything, and then there's everybody else, quite frankly.
Yeah. And the great thing about that, too, having that knowledge is that, in the event that someone needs to know something like that,
you come in and look like a hero.
Exactly. Jack is a very he's with filmmaking specifically, he focuses on a lot of the story and stuff, which I never did because I always focused on like the technical stuff, I know everything about a camera inside and out. I know all the technical gizmo, the resolution, and 8-bit versus 10-bit.
Think about this. Basically, the differences between you two, if you think about it, is in the PC world is the difference between software, like a programmer, and hardware. Like a person that knows the technical stuff, the specs, the network stuff, blah blah blah.
But in my case. But with me and Jack, it's much more. I know the software and the hardware, and he knows the heart. Like he understands filmmaking probably more than me, but I understand all the technical shit. Like he's like
technically. Not supposed to say shit on the radio. I just wanted to let that.
It's an explicit podcast. It's labeled as explicit. Yeah. So he knows much more of the heart of it. I always focused on like the technical things. I learned about resolution and sound and all that kind of stuff. So when we were having that conversation earlier, and you asked him if the lavaliers had XLR ports, and he
Yeah.
looked at me because he didn't know what you meant.
He had no idea.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's 100% like my better half in terms of this whole filmmaking thing, because I would never go out and pursue a TV deal for a late night show. I wouldn't,
especially
have even
when the
pursued a
show is in
late-night
its
show.
infancy.
Right.
Honestly, there's been what 2-3 things
two.
you guys have.
There's been 2. We've done 2 shows.
Yeah, so you guys are still. I mean, technically, you're really still figuring this out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, to have the initiative to go and do that.
Mm-hmm. He's the big idea guy on the small details, dude. You know, that's basically like the best way of describing our relationship. You know, we wouldn't have ever made Slick Trigger because at that time I didn't feel confident in myself to just go out and make a movie. But he was like, screw it, let's do it. And he didn't even think twice.
Figure it out along the way.
Let's figure it out along the way. And that's exactly what we did.
And the whole thing was a learning experience, and you learned a ton from that movie.
Honestly. Very, very true. And now we're making 2 more films. We're working on a reality show. And now we're possibly going to get our own late night show on public television. 2020 is going to be a nutso year.
Yeah, you can say that again. I guess it's also going to depend on how much my involvement is in a lot of this stuff too.
Right.
And that, but
because he's doing his technically this would be his sophomore effort at a feature film because it's his second film, and this year will be my freshman effort at a feature film. Even though I've technically made the documentary was kind of a feature, but it wasn't like it was a documentary. It wasn't a narrative film, you know?
Right.
Like there's still narrative to it, but it wasn't crafted the same way that you make in like a movie.
Well, a movie is a story.
Right.
You were just basically showing.
The documentary is a story too, but
documentary is more laid out about how the story was made. It's not about the story itself, which is what the movie is about.
I would say it's more or less how it's created, because when you make a narrative film, you're planning the entire story before you even shoot it. I was putting the story together in the edit. That's way after we even started filming, you know? Mm-hmm. Narrative, you do it before you film. With a documentary, you're trying to find the story after you film. You're just trying to get as much. Because when I shot the documentary, I had 15. I think it was over 700 hours of footage.
That is a crap ton of footage.
Yeah, and a lot of it was just freaking just like unusable, or it didn't have any relevancy to you. Like it was good footage, but it didn't have any relevancy to what I was trying to do. So I had to use the interview to kind of sort of mesh, you know, the story, and then I also used scenes from the movie to kind of, you know, bring whole points together. It's just
which
like
is
a lot
actually
of,
something that you do see on a professional documentary,
right? And it's my best project to date, no doubt. But I really, really, really want Reality Bleeding to be like my absolute best. I'm gonna shoot for feature films. I'm gonna have everybody in the cast like. I'm gonna if I can sell that film, which is like the dream, obviously. If I can sell that film or find some way to distribute it, I would lose my mind. That'd be insane.
Probably the best thing at first would be like an independent film thing,
right?
You know, I want to festival or whatever.
I want to go to Sundance. I want to go to South by Southwest. Those are really, really big festivals. I'm gonna submit to so many, and there's a really, really, really low chance that I'll even get in. But you have to make the effort for it to even be possible, you know.
And it has to be good.
Yeah.
And
I'm planning it to be good. I'm also trying to find composers locally that would be interested in composing the film. Brock's already made an original song, and I'm gonna ask Ology to make an original song, and Jack's dad's band is also gonna make an original song for the film.
Got a head start.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no soundtrack, but you know.
Well, the thing is too is I want the whole soundtrack to be like completely original, because I don't want to have to deal with copyright. There was one song that I really, really, really want to use, but I cannot figure out for the life of me how to license music.
That's another can of worms altogether. Basically,
it's rough. I don't even. Jack said that he found like some guy that said, "Oh, if you pay me $200, then I'll find out for you if you can even license it." And it's like, I'm not going to waste $200 to find out that I can't license it.
That is a total waste, because we know people that know.
Exactly. So it's like, it's just looking in the right places. So that's just trying to keep everything original is like the biggest thing. I also have to avoid product placement, so I'm gonna have to try to keep all logos out of the film, which is really hard to do. Surprisingly, you wouldn't think that it is, but it is.
Depends on what you're doing,
right,
and how people are supposed to look.
Well, and then the other thing is, like, this is my first movie, right? And I was writing it completely unhinged. Like full, like characters would swear, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then I realized, how am I going to be able to sell an R-rated film?
No.
Because there's a possibility, but it's going to be a lot easier for me to sell a PG-13 film than an R film.
It would be even easier for you to sell a PG film, because quite frankly,
there's no way that this movie's going to be PG.
But then you need to change it, because essentially, a lot of the stuff that is submitted, I'm sure at these film festivals, it's got to be basically, it's like a wide open slate. It's not something that you have to be, 18 to 21 to be able to see, type of thing.
Well, all the films are unrated, so it's not like there's not an age limit, because to even get a film rated, it has to go through that.
And it's not as much about the language as it is the message you're trying to convey. Because there's always instead of one way to say something, there's like 10 different ways to say something. It's just a matter of trying to find the right way that you make, that you get the most powerful message.
Right. And like the thing is that makes it hard is if PG-13 is going to be easier for me to sell than R, or like, and I'm not going like, it's not actually rated that, but that's like what it would be if, like, that's what I'd be aiming for if it did get rated. I'm freaking stumbling over my words. That's what I would be shooting for. It'd be a lot easier for me to sell that film. But to go completely PG, then I'd be completely giving up so much of the film. Like, I would be completely restricting everything that I want to make, because so much of this film.
What about PG-13?
That's what I'm saying. PG-13. That's the ideal. Like I'd have to give up some stuff, but it's still like,
because you're basically taking the young audience out.
Right. But if I try to go full PG, there'd be no way. I'm not making the film at that point. I can't make this film at PG. There's no way.
Who's your focused audience? What age?
My age.
Or is there what age range?
I'd say 16 to 24.
16 is probably too young for where you're pushing. You're probably looking more like 17, 18.
Well, then it's an R-rated film. Because you have to be 17 to see an R-rated film.
Yeah.
So
life sucks sometimes, don't it?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, is like people have made R-rated films. You just go unhinged. And the Jack's, I wish I was like Jack, because he wrote his film and it's like a thriller, and I don't feel like it's the language more so for my film, it's the content. Because his film that he wrote is pretty straightforward with what it's trying to say. It's like basically like I can't talk about it, but it's very straightforward. My film is dealing with like much deeper subjects like suicide, depression, guilt, alcoholism, drug abuse. Like
well, that a person would be able to take and get the messages for that in the interaction.
Right.
Within the conversations is where the messages come in.
But what I'm saying is the content of the film is also much more different because what the film is doing is it's getting inside of those characters' heads and it's displaying that. So you're gonna see some stuff that might be a little fucked up, you know, or you know, you're in. I can't talk about this without spoiling it, and I'm trying really hard not to spoil it. It's just like that stuff needs to be shown is what I'm saying. And if I can't show it, it's not going to be the film that I want it to be. It's not going to be the film that it's supposed to be.
In the end, obviously, you need to make sure that it's what you want, that it turns out how you want it. You know, I would definitely say give it a second look, even a third look, have somebody else look at it.
Well, I'm still writing it.
Oh, well, then as you're writing, maybe take and have, I don't want to say a co-writer, but a co-editor. Whereas, like, you could have somebody come in and basically tell them, okay, this is the conversation I'm putting down. This is the message I'm trying to convey.
Like a consultant? Like a script
consultant. And say, this is the message that I'm trying to convey. I want you to read this conversation.
Yeah, that's how we did it with Jax.
And tell me, you know, is it straightforward? Is it coming through at all?
He wrote his whole film. He wrote his whole film, and we sat down. It was like Jack, it was me, Trevor, and then Eddie. And we sat down and we read it and we talked about it. He talked about what he was trying to do with it. We talked about whether it kind of succeeded. If we didn't understand something, he'd try to translate it. I know. And yeah. Okay, we're a little bit past an hour. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Jack will be here for the full hour next week. Give a round of applause. Give a silent round of applause for my father.
Yeah, it was fun. I just wish we could have did more because I wanted to take and throw something out there for the show that I want to do because I want to do kind of
well, when we know what's going on,
when
we know what's going on, I'll plug it. I'll plug it for you.
Do like a local show. You know, we're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk a lot about stupid people. Holy crap. And it's not just one party.
Yeah, this is true.
And we're not just talking, you know,
we don't
politics.
like to get political on this podcast. We rarely get political.
But quite frankly, on your podcast, you might not get political. No holds barred on mine.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, when we know that that's coming out or where it's going to, I'll plug it. Check out Jack on his social media. It's Late Night Boomin', Dorm Boomin', and the Cheese Puffs. Those are his YouTubes and his Instagrams. Check out mine, Anderson Visuals, CJA Visuals, Cole James Ann. That's YouTube, that's Instagram, that's Twitter, that's all the places. When the show is going up for my father, I'll plug it. Thank you for listening to the Small YouTube Channels Talk Podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Thank you for listening to Small YouTube Channels Talk Podcast with Cole James Anderson and Jack Unruh. And don't forget, new episodes every Friday.